from the farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest. You're watching Beyond the Blast Doors live.
Season 3, Beyond the Blast Doors, starts right now. Welcome into our Star Wars conversation. It's crazy. Our 2-month, 3-month break, hey, it's over and done with. We're back for a new season of Beyond the Blast Doors. David with you. We got Jesse Buck. We got David Gilbert. And we have a full show courtesy of D23. Everyone, we bow to Disney. Thank you, Disney. D23, we thank you. A full slate of things. We have on this episode Rey showcasing a double-sided red lightsaber. We've got Obi-Wan back in-house because, oh gosh, that whole moment where Ewan came out on stage at D23 with Kathleen Kennedy, it was perfection. Lego leaks, and, well, Lego taketh away. We'll get into that a little later on. And, of course, the Mandalorian trailer, which Jesse, and we know you are super hyped about. That was the worst Yoda laugh.
Oh, no, that wasn't a Yoda laugh.
Oh,
that was just
him being excited.
I'm glad I've never gone on a double date with you. We have a full show ready to go for you, but first things first, in case you didn't know, you're watching us here live on YouTube every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Central until we decide to find a different time. But until then, that's the time. But you can also find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher. We're also on Patreon, but those are the different places you can also find us. So if you're not able to watch us on your computer at home or at work, you can listen to us at work or on the drive. Simple as that. We also want to thank our sponsors, the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood. The Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri, proudly serving the St. Louis area since 1981. Proudly serving as our sponsor of our show for about the last year or so, playing our episodes live in the shop. They also play us on the Rewind, which is really cool. So when we go in there and like someone looks up and like, oh wait, Beyond the Blast Doors, that's like a really cool moment when we go to pick up our comics. So shout out to them. They have everything. They have the games, the comics, the action figures, they have the miniatures, just everything and anything. Magic the Gathering, they've got it all. Fantasy Shop, Maplewood, Missouri. Check them out. Say Beyond the Blast Doors sent you. Now, usually, this is the time of the show, guys. We talk about on this day, don't we?
Yeah, I don't care about that. I want to get to the new stuff.
Well, that's good, because nothing really special happened on this day.
Barrel right forward.
Just like to always give a hindsight of where we've been. But the first topic of the show this week, Mandalorian, the official trailer drops. Now, of course, we know this series will actually drop with the Disney Plus release on November 12th. But it's about a minute and a half that we got here. And you're looking at the poster right now on your screen. And, you know, to be honest, it's simple. It's subtle. It feels like a series poster. To me, it doesn't have the grandiose of like a saga film, but we're talking about two different things.
I don't think it needs that. I think simple is good.
I love that sun behind our Mandalorian and his ship off in the distance.
So it's very much a Western vibe. I personally was really excited. This is currently my screensaver on my computer now, obviously. But what really made me happy was, you know, like at Celebration, I got that exclusive poster from being in the panel, which is sitting up on the wall. And that's a whole different, like, you know, poster. So I was glad that this wasn't something that was just kind of being released out to the public, you know. So I have something a little bit more unique on the wall, and then, you know, this wonderful thing to look at on my PC. So
I am so hyped about this show. And the poster does a really nice job of setting the tone, like you mentioned. It's that Western, it's that gunslinger. Something we see in that trailer is that like iconic shot that we're starting to get in a lot of Star Wars where it's like the tight of the holster gun with the foe off in the distance. We got that in Solo, you might remember. And people were like, well, that's a cliche shot. Well, it was a cool shot, and it's here in this show as well. And there are so many things that we could talk about this. And, of course, we want to have this conversation with you. So make sure you're letting us know in the comment section. We're doing this live on YouTube in the live chat. Let us know what you like from the trailer. But, guys, what do you think? We got Jordan with us. Why don't we cue up the trailer itself, and let's we'll have the volume kind of lower, but the three of us can kind of commentate on that trailer as it plays out. And you at home, if you want to, well, you're going to see it on your screen. So be sure you comment down below. But let's watch this trailer together and just talk about what we like, what would we not?
What is there not to like?
Anything that starts out with like helmets impaled on sticks just gets me going right off the bat.
This was such a great first shot. I love this. Yeah, and the blood on that helmet.
Oh man, yeah.
The music
great. Nailed it.
I love the brass there, the French horns.
There's kind of a classic shot that we see in a lot of trailers for Star Wars with the ship going over the forest.
Big cityscapes, yeah. That kind of feels like it's out of a video game. That's not a bad thing, but it's the
not,
engine.
yeah, they said they actually utilized the Unreal Engine for some of the visuals.
Oh, and it's Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
I love this.
That
I'm gonna
reminds
kick some
me-
ass, but first I need this door to drop.
Oh, and a little Twi'lek. That's fun.
Oh, girl. Oh, she's my crush. That is a sexy lady.
We get Death Troopers. That made me really happy.
Who's
to
in
see
charge
too.
of the Death Troopers now, though?
I'm assuming that guy.
Well, because weren't they supposed to be just Krennic's doers? ATST?
I mean, it really doesn't look like they cheaped out on the production value at
Oh,
all.
no.
This that's
IG-88.
sweet. No, it's IG-11.
Well, that's disappointing.
Hunting is a complicated profession.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love this. Watch this. Boom.
Oh
and
my
then he gets
gosh,
cut in
it's
half
so
by the
good.
door.
Uh-huh.
Some carbonite. And
Do you agree?
oh, the Mandalorian.
And then the cloak coming off the, the title is fantastic.
And that's the end of the trailer there. And Jordan, thanks again for queuing that up. And now that we're back on camera, you can tell we are sweating now. That was I love the ability to. God bless you, Jordan.
You know, I'm frequently to the point where the more I watch movie trailers and TV trailers for things that are coming out, I feel like less is more. And I feel like they did a really good job teasing this without talking over the entire thing, without
like us.
giving away the plot. I mean, like, we still don't know what the show's about, but it looks really badass.
One of the reoccurring things that I saw over Twitter and all the various different YouTube reactions, where people were actually, some of them were actually complaining that you actually don't hear the Mandalorian speaking. There's not actually a lot of dialogue, minus Herner, kind of over the top of everything there.
Mm-hmm.
And people were kind of, I'm like, no, that's perfect, because like you said, it's as simple as better.
Right.
Like you're adding to that fuel on the fire that you want people curious, and I think
David,
they've done it.
You and I were talking about this the other day with Tarantino's new flick, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And Tarantino's by and large not my favorite director. Just
Okay.
I respect what he does, but just they don't strike me. But I went and saw that movie with you because I saw the trailer and had no idea what it was about, so it piqued my interest.
Right.
So I'm okay that they left things relatively vague.
Yeah.
What I enjoy about this is the scale of the series. You made the comment about it very early on when we first saw that first landscape, and I'm such a big fan of terrain shots in Star Wars because it's that world building that George Lucas did so well with. And that was a focus of the prequels. We go back to whether it was Phantom Menace and you're cruising on Naboo for the first time, or Geonosis and Attack the Clones, or seeing just the vastness of Mustafar and all its volcanic activity, is that's like just an aesthetic of the world.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that here in this trailer, whether it's this foresty planet that we saw, whether it's that desert, that cracked surface planet, but just in the streets where you see IG-11 blasting all those people up, or you can list a few more examples from that minute and a half trailer, but the scale of it, it doesn't feel like it's on a sound stage. This feels massive, and this is the advantage of having Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the opportunities that the storytellers would have, getting these directors to write these big stories, these limited series. We don't know how long The Mandalorian is going to go. I believe the last rumor was that, obviously season 1 is done and season 2 is already in development.
Yeah.
But we don't know what limited series really means in this streaming age anymore. It's really until it's successful or they just deem the story to be over with. But there's so much. What excites me, honestly, guys, everything. How does not everything
How can you not be excited? Yeah.
But that one scene where you're seeing the Mandalorian in spacesuit and he's getting pursued by that TIE fighter, I'm thinking to myself, like, my God, like, it just reminds me of how much I've missed space battle, space activity in Star Wars. And I'm not slamming anything with that comment. It's just something that I've always loved. Like, how fun is it when you go back and watch Return of the Jedi, right? And you're experiencing that space battle, and it's like the most intense thing when you only think of like the original trilogy. Like that battle is so much more intense than what we got in the first movie, and it's so much fun. And we haven't had like those dogfights and that space battle really in the newer movies. So it's really exciting to see that. They prioritize that. They put that in that first minute and a half to tell you this is a space. This is an adventure that is going to take us, planet side, but we're also going to be exploring space as well.
Land, air, and sea.
Here's my question: How How many carbonite slabs there at the end of that? There's a lot of bounties he's
It
collected.
looked like there was maybe 4 in the front part of that, though. I mean, I really I can't tell you how many times I watched this trailer and then paused it, went back, watched segments of it. I'm almost certain that in that very front slab of carbonite is a alien species, a Davaronian, also known as the Devil Man. You see the Devil Man in the Cantina in A New Hope.
Okay.
Interesting enough, with the Celebration sneak peek, there was a Davaronian kind of scene, in that. So it was like, oh, this is awesome. Plus, I mean, carbonite apparently it's really kind of taken the galaxy by storm because, you put Han in it, everybody's doing it now. So
well, and that's something that I am kind of excited about this, underworld exploration with the series is. I think carbonite was probably a more explored, it was a practice. Like they use it for
more
cargo,
established, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's kind of cool to see. Okay, well, is this like an imperial practice, or were bounty hunters able to get where else are there freezing chambers in the galaxy? I don't know. Those are the things that really interest me. That way of life, that protocol for the bounty hunters, and that's what I think we're going to explore.
Yeah,
not just seeing the Mandalorian, but you see an IG-11. It'd be interesting. I don't know. I think of Bosk. I can't remember, but is Bosk dead at this timeline? If not, throw him in there.
Mm-hmm.
We know Aura Singh is dead because Beckett killed her.
Yep.
We established that in Solo, but I think there's an opportunity here where we might see some familiar faces from that iconic scene in Empire Strikes Back. That would be really exciting.
Really neat.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to have a large part in the story.
No,
I'm okay with like a cameo kind of thing.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, there's a lot of things in this trailer. I mean, a lot of rumors going out there. I'm not really sure what the forest planet, if that's maybe, I don't know, Endor or something completely new. I like to think that we're probably going to see Tatooine, that it's shot where the ship is flying over, like a desert planet. My personal theory is that's Tatooine, that's maybe the Dune Sea or Beggar's Canyon, which is referenced in... a lot of the the old books, Shadows of the Empire, for example.
And you know what? Normally, I'd say that doesn't make sense because Tatooine's out in the Outer Rim. But for this, it totally makes sense.
It makes sense because this is supposed to be
the Outer Rim.
And then the other planet kind of looks like there's a volcanic rock and gravel, and it's steamy, and that automatically made me think of Solist. Which, if you don't know what that is, go fire up Battlefront 2015. You'll get a very nice look at that.
But isn't that a fun aspect too? I mean,
it's that world building aspect.
The world building,
again,
and you're getting more species. I'm just having brain fart. You mentioned we're also getting the Mon Calamari species in here, right?
Yeah, the Weequays. So that last shot where you see the guy getting cut in half, that's just a phenomenal scene because he grapples, with the his wrist weapon,
right,
which is on his right, and
then cable or whatever it is,
pulls him in. Attaches the cable to his left side and then draws his blaster pistol from his right to shoot the control panel.
It is the smoothest thing. Also, props to Pedro Pascal for doing that because that is the smoothest gunslinging pose motion I've ever seen. And the fact that he slices that dude in half with that door, that's what's going to happen.
I've always wanted a this kind of Star Wars. I get there's those happy moments and those fantastic moments that's going to intrigue. A small child's, mind. But I mean, let's face it. I mean, since we've been kids, what have we always thought stood out to us from A New Hope? That cantina scene, wretched hive of scum and villainy. And that's
now we get it.
Well, now we're getting it, and it's fantastic.
We can't have that argument, I think, anymore about how this Star Wars isn't for me. I don't think we ever promoted that here on this show. But when you think about Star Wars Resistance, and we would have conversations about this isn't Star Wars for us. This is targeting the kids, and that's fine. Everybody gets their slice of the pie.
I think this is for us.
This is for us.
Yeah.
This is the fan service.
I still see this as for everybody. I actually don't think we're gonna probably see nothing as graphic as maybe Game of Thrones or something, even with that door scene. It's insinuated what happens. Yeah. To that bounty.
I don't know. I think that we might get it. We've seen limbs cut off in the movies before. Why not an upper torso?
If we do, I'm fine with it, but if we don't, I'm still going to be fine with it.
Now, here's my thing. This conversation has been very positive. We've been gushing about what we love in this trailer. There's nothing we dislike. The live chat it's just blowing up right now. We're going to dive into live chat here in a moment. So keep those comments coming.
Keep them coming.
If you got to take about this trailer or just the Mandalorian in general, now is the time to get in the live chat. But David, I want to come talk to you because now we have a technicality we have to talk about.
Is it the IG-88 that's apparently an IG-11? Because that's still heartbreaking.
No, that's just because you're uneducated. What we're talking about here is the fact that Jon Favreau himself, the creator, .20, because he will change Star Wars storytelling forever, I think, with this series.
Mm-hmm.
He came out at D23 and said that this is going to drop the day that Disney Plus drops, November 12th.
Good.
1 episode a week.
100% okay with it.
Me too.
It gives me something to look forward to at the end of the week.
Me too. It gives us a week for suspense and to guess, to speculate what did this mean? Where is this going? How does this character play into it? But David is like the Uber binger.
The moment I heard that announcement was the moment I started thinking, how is David going to bust me over this one? Because you come from the TV world. You like that week-by-week release. You can talk about it. You can get excited for the next one. And I am 100% not behind that notion.
It's like foreplay, just like a little tease, a little pro.
I understand it. I completely understand why you do it, because you want people to keep subscribing, people coming back. But I have a DC Universe subscription, and I subscribe every third month for 1 month, so I can watch the entire program, and then I unsubscribe. And they're losing money on me because of that. But I also don't want to pay, $2 like for DC Universe, which is great content. Doom Patrol was phenomenal. Titans was phenomenal. But if they're releasing an hour of content per week, whether that's 3 episodes of Young Justice or an episode of their live show, I'm paying basically $2 a week for content in my $8 a month subscription. And that is too much money that I don't want to spend as a broke-ass millennial.
Well, let's think about this, though, David, because we've learned that they're going to bundle Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN.
And I am not going to buy that package. I'm going to take the cheaper package, which is just the Disney Plus, because I don't want Hulu and I don't want the ESPN Plus.
But what do you think about that bundle? Because we had a conversation on the show last season about the concern with Disney Plus, where it's just one more streaming service.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was getting to the point where you couldn't feasibly have all these streaming services. You might as well just go back to cable. But now you have this opportunity to bundle all these. $13 for me, for example, that 3 stream bundle is perfect for me. And $13 is outrageously competitive with Netflix.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I can keep both. And yeah, it's nice that you have that option, I guess, as the user, just to have the Disney Plus. That is a streaming service, though. I know you're not going to unsubscribe. There's always going to be content there for you to consume. You can't tell me that you're
on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Since the thing that still has me excited about the Disney Plus is that they've said they're getting rid of the Disney Vault and they're throwing everything from the Disney catalog.
Yes.
So to me, that is 100% worth paying month by month, so I can watch a lot of those things that come from my childhood, from my nostalgia. 100% of that is absolutely worthwhile. Now, for you, I can understand why the ESPN would be worth it, because you get your golf, you get your other
sports.
Those things.
Sports is the word. For $200, Alex.
Yeah, so you get those things. So I can get that. Now, you mentioned something about Netflix to me. Depending on what Netflix does, if they're losing a lot of their NBC shows, and if they're losing all of their Disney content, and if they're not going to be able to continue putting out their own original content, this may be the axe for me on getting rid of Netflix and just keeping Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, but I do that for the shipping, and then occasionally the DC Universe.
Hey, just so you know, you're getting raked over the coals right now for your
Am
millennial
I?
comment. Yeah. Nemesis Prime is like cough, get a better job, cough. He has a better job. He travels too much. That's the problem. What he doesn't tell you is he's a spoiled millennial. We have Pete Fletcher being like, just skip on the Starbucks. With him, I just skip on the pizzas. All right. Let's see what else we got.
Wow.
I have not eaten pizza in Quincy. I think I've had pizza once in Quincy since Emo's shut down and moved.
Oh, that was such a sad day.
But
The St. Louis Square beyond compare.
Yeah.
I want to dive into the live chat real quick because
Pete's giving me trouble.
Pete's giving you trouble. You know what's so funny is right before we came on air, we were talking about Pete and how we want to have him back on the show.
I've changed my mind.
We owe him a lot. Like we need to talk more about his book. We need to finish that project up. And now that we have the setup to do it, we can do it really well. And then Pete just craps on you. That was great.
Thanks, Pete. Love you too, Peanut.
That was special. Let's go into the live chat, and everyone is just really excited. Pete says, for example, Death Troopers doing their Rogue One thing was a shocking surprise. Absolutely, and that kind of goes to my point that I really thought that they were at the command and service of Krennic. So I guess Death Troopers, or there's more of them, and they're throughout the galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought they were like a Secret Service type of thing just for him. So that's really cool to see how that will be explored. A really cool thing that was at D23 too was they were showcasing the different like trooper costumes over the run of the series, and that was really cool to see. And they had these here. They had the Jet Troopers there. The Jet Troopers are freaking sweet from Rise of Skywalker. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But I want to hit some more of these comments. Basically, everyone is just like saying like just super excited to be here. Pete saying he wouldn't miss BTBD. Alderaan Broadcast Network is with us. Holy cow, a ton of people I know. So yeah, the live chat is just really bumping. Rural Farm Boy is a huge supporter of Beyond the Blast Doors, and he's just tearing it up as well. 2Med2 says, and that new Twi'lek, I forgot her name. So they're trying to sort out who she. Natalia Tena is the actress's name.
Yeah.
But she's from Game of Thrones. I'm not usually into like being like female species in Star Wars are like attractive. But like there is something about the Twi'lek that is sexual. There is something that's sexual. Like there's like appealing.
Now you can find the Celebration sneak peek and everything that was on there. I was actually really worried leading up to this trailer. Like, are they just going to show that? Am I just going to see a lot of repeat scenes? Yeah. So I was really happy not that it like there was a few things that were familiar, but for the most part this was all new, even for me.
Well, I think one of the benefits of doing a TV program over a 2-hour movie is that you get 8-10 hours worth of content that you can pull from for your trailer, for your promotion, and to give us as fans the enjoyment and satisfaction of watching, as opposed to just being over in 2 hours.
There is a lot more comments. I'm trying to catch up. There's some speculation in here that maybe our blue Twi'lek friend is Sabine's mom, Urso Wren, or a member of the clan. I don't think that works out timeline-wise, but I could be wrong. Then we get back into the assault about Gilbert being a shitty millennial. I'm sorry, we don't swear on the show. That was bad form.
Yeah, watch your mouth.
Marie Wilson, really excited. It looks like that the Disney Vault is going to unlock because she's like Lady and the Tramp.
We get to talk to her in a little bit, don't we?
We get to talk to her.
That's exciting.
Marie Wilson of Beyond the Blast Doors will join us in about 20 minutes or so. And then I'm going through front. Pete, brown liquor on a Sunday. God bless. Pete Fletcher. God bless you. And then I don't think I missed anyone. We got Mr. Rez in the live chat as well, Nemesis Prime. So the live chat is a rockin'. And let's go on to whoa. To me too. She was attractive as a dirty. I don't know what that means. I can't repeat that out loud because I don't know what that means. That is what we have as far as the Mandalorian trailer and poster drop. Really excited about what we saw. Again, November 12th is when that drops. Coincides with the drop of Disney Plus.
Can we do a watch party? Like, can we plan that out? So
you might have to do call the police to do like a health check on me or something like that.
That's why I'm thinking we do it together. Like, I'll spring for the pizza, but just as long as we know that you're alive and healthy.
We can do that, but we can't show the actual show. So we're gonna everyone's gonna cue it up, and then we could have like the camera on us.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. That'd be fun.
If we miss anything about the Mandalorian, we want you to tell us right now in the comments below. But in the meantime, the Rise of Skywalker. We don't have necessarily more official footage. It's being described as a sizzle reel out of D23. It will be available for the world to see tomorrow. That's per Disney. But we did get this new poster that we're looking at right now.
I love it.
On the left side, you're getting like the whole poster. I kind of shrunk it down. And then on the right side, I just tried to zoom in more on Rey and Kylo. Not sure what Kylo and Rey are fighting on. Everyone at this point is saying that's the remnants of the Death Star, the second Death Star. Again, that would be really cool because that means we could possibly go into actual Endor. But you're also seeing a Kylo Ren with his assembled helmet. That's something that we noticed. And you're getting the Emperor in the background.
That, to me, is the most chill-inducing part of this poster.
Is there something off about this poster to you, though?
No, not really. At least not.
When I look really close to the Emperor, it looks like they took the Emperor from Rebels. Like it looks like an animated Emperor. I mean, this is me being super nitpicky, but the first thing I noticed about this poster was, wow, Emperor looks cartoony. But really fascinated about.
I mean, the entire thing looks like it was digitally rendered. Like, I don't believe for a second that that's actually Kylo and Rey Daisy and Adam like posing.
Well, and it's a
for that
promo
photo.
poster. That's not like I don't think that's going to be the poster that we get in theaters. That would
Yeah.
kind of be of a letdown.
I still like it though. I mean, it's vibrant, and it got that classic clash of good and evil, with a larger threat looming in the background. So
Just like the Mandalorian poster, less is more. So it's a very simple poster, getting a point getting the point across to us.
But we are getting a lot of details out of D23 this weekend
Mhm.
regarding the rise of Skywalker and new images that we've seen. We're not going to show you any of those. I don't even have a way of pulling the tweets up for you. But I do want to go ahead and take this tweet. This is from Andre. He was at D23 Expo, and this is courtesy of our good friends over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. Clip showing montage of past Star Wars films, then shots of an army of ships, Rey and Kylo fighting over water, and ends with Rey in a hooded black cloak holding a red lightsaber that goes from 2 side-by-side sabers to 2 long sabers, if that makes any sense. What people are deducing, I think what that means is she's wielding 2 double-sided lightsabers.
That's kind of cool.
That'd be kind of cool. We've only seen that once with the Clone Wars with.
But why would Rey be wielding a red lightsaber in all black?
Well, I've heard a couple different theories that this is like. Do you guys remember like the Darth Maul like comic where like he kind of had like the vision of himself as a Jedi?
Yeah.
I'm kind of saying like this might be like the same thing except the opposite. Maybe a vision of Rey seeing herself as a Sith. And I actually kind of tend like to agree with that concept. I don't feel like Rey is the kind of person that's gonna fall to the dark side that just like that. I mean, I don't want to say it's not possible, but I just don't.
We
see
would have
that
seen
going
that coming
way.
in the last movies.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, we had the Johnson movie in there to kind of throw things around.
Hit
Yeah.
your mic, you
Yep.
rookie. Season 3, David, come
Yep.
on. I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
You just heard what Jesse had to say about, it might be like some force vision or some sort, some kind of dream sequence. But what if during this footage you hear the Emperor's voice track saying, "And now your journey comes to an end"? That was really bad, Emperor.
That'd
I was
be
trying
really cool.
hard. But that's what happened. So now do you still think it's a dream sequence? Or do you think that the Emperor is like a marionette right now and Rey is just his puppet?
I could buy a dream sequence. I'm not overly convinced that wearing black is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Return of the Jedi, Luke wore black, not a cloak, but he wore black. And then when we see him in The Force Awakens, he's wearing white. But then as soon as we get to The Last Jedi, he goes back to his hut and changes into dark colored clothes again. So to me, black isn't necessarily exclusive to the dark side anymore. The red lightsaber, however, maybe she grabs a red lightsaber and starts fighting with it, kind of like how we've seen Vader in the comics grab a blue lightsaber.
Yeah, you don't have to be a Jedi to hold a saber. Han slices up a tauntaun.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that the Knights of Ren, we've seen concept, like screenshots of these guys. So who's to say that, like David said, maybe one of them has a double-sided lightsaber,
Or 2 of them.
or 2.
Yeah.
Do we think that this is happening on the Death Star? The remnants of Death
I
Star?
really
2?
think so. Yeah.
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 Did you guys see the clip though of Kylo has Vader's helmet in like this case now, and someone threw this out there, and I thought this would be kind of cool. So we're trying to always figure out until we actually see the rise of Skywalker. The question is, how are they going to incorporate the Emperor where it doesn't feel forced and it feels like this has been the plan from the very beginning? And someone, of course, references the masterpiece that is Charles Soule, issues 1 through 25 of Darth Vader. The moment. Could the Emperor somehow be reaching Kylo through the helmet? To me, that seems a little like that doesn't. I don't know. I have an issue with that
Yeah, me too.
because I guess you're having to say that the Emperor had hindsight when he constructed Vader that somehow binded himself with that mask. You can't bind yourself with that mask in Return of the Jedi. He dies before Vader dies. So that's why I keep going. There has to be like an object or something in that shaft. And then somehow that shaft is somewhat intact on Endor or whatever planet the station crashed onto. But I like the idea of him coming through an artifact, a Horcrux type thing.
Even in that comic strip, though, Momin comes back by building several different incarnations of what ends up being Vader's castle to create a conduit that he could walk through with his physical manifestation again. So there are other ways that he could get back into the world. Momin just used his helmet as a way to keep his consciousness there to build it.
And as far as we know, I mean, if you look at Rebels, you had I call them the time travel gateways. I mean, who's to say that somehow or another Palpatine was able to maybe repair one of these or discovered another one in the long run?
And that's to say he's even still there. I mean, one of the things I really liked from that Charles Soule comic was when they were rebuilding the library of all of the Jedi holocrons, which we have yet to see any holocrons in a major picture, to my understanding, to my recollection. So maybe it could be a thing where Palpatine put something in a Sith holocron. He's like, well, listen, guys, I'm about to die. I know this is coming. Here's the game plan. It's all on you now, Kylo. And that'd be really cool because it's like he knew what was going to happen 40 years in the future.
But like I think when I watched Return of the Jedi, from like the first viewing to now, I always feel like the Emperor's, it's that conversation that he has with Luke. Like Luke's faith in his friends is his weakness. His weakness is his overconfidence or whatever, in this monstrosity. The Emperor has blinded himself because he feels like he cannot be touched. And he feels like he has the entire Rebel fleet like right there to destroy, with the trap that he's laid. So I feel that would the Emperor have a contingency plan? Well, because of what we know with Battlefront 2, for example, Operation Cinder, he did have a contingency plan. So now that I say that...
And he did have a gathering of artifacts. I mean, there's that whole mission with, where Luke gets the Star Compass. So.
I think there's just so much out there that Palpatine could have done while he was Emperor that we have no idea what's going to hit us in the face in December when it comes.
Here's this, though, because now that I'm saying it out loud, okay, and you have to acknowledge Operation Cinder, because that is a game changer with our understanding of the original trilogy, and I didn't think of that before we started recording. What if it's a connection to the first Death Star? And I bring this up because Patrick Hovey, our good friend Gannon, is in the live chat right now, and he's saying that there's actually a large amount of the fan base that thinks we're not seeing the second Death Star, we're seeing remnants of the first Death Star. Now, that Death Star took, like 15, 19 years to become fully operational? So, like, maybe that seems more legitimate for the Emperor to somehow tie himself to that facility,
Yeah.
A lot of really cool things that we can dive into. And of course, here we are on, August 25th. We have several months still to speculate. And of course, when we actually
my only concern with that theory is that we really haven't had anything to go, he visited it, this facility. Because you have Rogue One and that, that takes place directly in front of, A New Hope. So you're seeing basically the final completion moments for that battle station between those two movies. So at what point it hasn't really been said in any of the comics. It's an interesting thought because there's still that 18-year time period that this thing's being built.
Right.
And that structure was so vast too, because it's not like a planet where everybody's living on the outside. I mean, there's floor after floor after
shopping malls, Pizza Hut.
I mean, there could have been who knows what. I mean, you could fit 8 planets on there.
Don't judge me. You're judging me hardcore for that.
Is the Pizza Hut Death Star more or less expensive than if you were just to go to a regular pizza? Like when you go to the airport and it's like $5 more because it's at the airport.
You look like a hot dog at a ballpark. It's like $20 for a hot dog kind of thing.
Who the hell is a grown man buys a hot dog at the ballpark? Get a brat or something. A hot dog? Are you 12?
Some days.
What do you do? Put ketchup on that?
Oh, I hope you don't.
You child.
No, I actually don't like ketchup that much.
Oh, good.
Do you like ketchup on your hot dog? I hope you don't. But let us know down in the live chat. You got any thoughts about the Rise of Skywalker? The sizzle reel that we'll see tomorrow. I'm really excited to see that footage for myself. And again, have a better understanding of Rey wielding this red lightsaber. And obviously this fuels speculation. And this is a trait of J.J. Abrams. Not everything that's in that trailer for Force Awakens came to fruition. There was misdirection there. You watch that trailer for Force Awakens, you think Finn is Force sensitive. Now, he might end up being. We don't know, but that's just the example that I think of. We want to know what your thoughts are, and I just keep having this lightsaber hilt in my mind. It's either going to be double-sided, or what if it's like that Krell Jedi from Clone Wars, where the lightsaber was like like foldable.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and then it like whips out, and then that'd be insane. And then maybe, if this is real, if this is actually Rey building that saber, then what if she learns that from those books that she steals from Luke. And then like it's like this really cool throwback to the like Old Republic or something. And then there's like an Easter egg 5 years later in like the Benioff and Weiss movies. This is speculation. Okay.
That's fun.
Okay. Well, I'm pitting out. I need more deodorant. What's the next topic? Oh, that's right.
I'm excited for this one.
Hello there.
Hello
I'm
there.
excited for this one.
This was the greatest moment out of D23, I think, because this has been wanted by fans for ever since Revenge of the Sith ended.
Like 16 years.
You gotta give credit to John Hoey over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. He comes on the show back in March, and he talks about how he's getting, a source saying there is going to be an Obi-Wan series in the works for Disney Plus. And we all were pretty confident that, hey, we're going to have 12, 16 different projects in works, but whichever get greenlit. You're looking at this moment right now on your screen, okay? This is Ewan McGregor on stage with Kathleen Kennedy. Ewan walks out on stage, has a microphone, turns to Kathleen and says, Kathleen, will you please ask me in front of all these people, will I ever play Obi-Wan again? Hands the microphone.
She takes the microphone and she asks, Ewan, will you ever play Obi-Wan again? And hands the microphone back.
And he's like, yes, I am.
And it was so exciting.
The crowd freaks out. And what's so fun about this
I freaked out.
You can watch this. I love watching this through cell phone video because it's through the fan's eye. Everyone's so excited. Everyone is so happy. This is truly an example of Disney, Lucasfilm listening to the fans. This is a story that people are curious about. I think it's across the board. Obi-Wan was up to more than just sitting in that hut for 19 years looking over Luke. I think there were some off-planet adventures, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out. But, we hear that we're getting this live-action series. David, what are the stories that we should tell?
I think we need to tell more about... one thing I'd love to see, there's a episode of the Clone Wars where Darth Maul realizes that Obi-Wan is still alive, ends up back on Tatooine. They have this nice little conversation at a campfire, and then Obi-Wan kills him.
Well, those Rebels, but yeah, close.
Rebels, whoa, animated show. And it was wonderful, and it was delicious, and I would love to see that again.
That would be kind of cool to see recreated.
That would be cool to see recreated on the live screen.
It kind of goes back to like the Cassian Andor series, for example. It'd be like, I know that we've seen him and K2SO meet in the comic books, but I'd like to see that happen on the live screen.
I mean, seeing them meet live screen, I feel like that's one thing, like from comic book. It's the fact that with the animated show, it's already played out, and everything. I mean, that means you'd have to put Ezra in the picture there because Ezra is present at that campfire up to a certain point.
Or what if he's like meditating?
Meditation. A lot of people have been like, yeah, we get to see this confrontation. I think we were kind of talking about it on the drive down this morning. I'd be more keen to seeing, because during this time frame, we know that Darth Maul is in charge of the Syndicate, and it would be interesting. He's hearing rumors that maybe Kenobi might still be alive, so maybe you don't actually see them in the same shot. But maybe like in terms of what like Obi-Wan is dealing with, like it's somewhat about him evading Darth Maul at this point.
Yeah, I think the Obi-Wan series was confirmed to be like 6 years after Revenge of the Sith.
6 or 7 years, I think. They had a timeline that they posted.
So young Luke. One thing I would love to see, because we know that at some point over that time gap between his exile and A New Hope, we know that he learns how to communicate with the dead. We know that he learns how to become a Force ghost. And so I would love to see a cameo from Liam Neeson, at least his voice popping in, teaching him, guiding him, showing that still, even when you're in your mid-40s, you're still able to learn from the masters and the way of the Force, and that nobody has ever done learning. Well, that'd be a great moral to teach.
What you're describing to me is my favorite scene from a certain point of view. That great conglomerate of stories from all those Star Wars authors was Obi-Wan there in his hut on Tatooine learning from Qui-Gon. And exploring that would be exciting. And I think that Liam Neeson would be more than willing to come back. I mean, maybe I'm making an assumption here, but he came back to voice himself for Clone Wars, I believe. He was supposed to be in Revenge of the Sith. He was in a car crash, and that's what kept him out of that scene. So they had to rewrite that scene on the Tantive 4, where it was Yoda and Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon was supposed to be there. Which, can you imagine
how cool that
would have played out? So I'm really excited about it. I want to see. There's got to be a greater threat than Tusken Raiders. You know what I'm saying?
What do you? What about like some TV shows do almost like kind of like a flashback kind of episode to where maybe like he's like sitting in his hut but he's like reflecting on like an event that happened, and in great detail.
Well, that opens up a lot of doorways because then you could have a flashback to like a traumatic. What if he has PTSD from the Clone Wars, and then you're flashing back to like
great fan
Felucia or something,
and
he's there with Anakin, and then you have freaking Hayden Christensen right next to him again as Anakin Skywalker, and like they're back in the heat of battle.
It would tie a lot of things in. I mean, like Hayden was at Celebration.
He's everywhere now.
Yeah, and so they've been bringing in a lot of these actors. Ahmad Best was at Celebration. I just hit David's mic. Season 3. So I mean, like
Season 3, getting it right.
I know, right? There's so many possibilities. I mean, I personally don't actually want to see the Darth Maul Obi-Wan confrontation in a live action format because I feel like I've already seen it, and it actually kind of takes away from Rebels. And I don't want something that's going to take something away.
I think the majority of the people probably have not seen Rebels though,
and that's the other side of this too that I'm actually seeing from just general comments from D23. I mean, this is also with the Mandalorian. Oh, it's Boba Fett. It's not Boba Fett. Like it's people who haven't stepped outside of the realm of the movies. They haven't looked at the comics. They haven't looked at the animated series or the books. And if you haven't done that, if you're in chat and you haven't done that yet, you need to. Strongly advised.
You mentioned like the whole Rebels and Clone Wars thing, and I guess I was thinking about this for Rise of Skywalker too. Like that world between worlds thing, and if that can somehow play a factor. And I think it doesn't make sense at all for this Obi-Wan series. I very much think that I think this would be a cool opportunity to see like encounters with the Lars Homestead. Luke seems to have some awareness of Obi-Wan, of Ben Kenobi, but he still seems to be a little mythological. So maybe there's not like direct contact, or maybe that there was, but he was like super young, and there had been like a decade or something.
We're gonna get that Breaking Bad season with
Owen's freaking
moisture farming setup,
making smack.
The two other things I'd love to see from this is one, we need more lightsabers. We've been saying that for years on this program, and I would love to see Ewan McGregor get back his lightsaber and go fighting again, even if it is a flashback. And the other thing I'd like to see is when we pull in A New Hope to Mos Eisley, and Alec Guinness delivers that iconic line, Mos Eisley, you've never seen a more wretched hive of,
scum and villainy.
Scum and villainy. How does he know that? Like, I want to see the scum and villainy. I want to see why he has that frame of reference that of all of the places as this man has traveled in the galaxy, and as a general in the Clone Wars, he's probably seen a lot of pretty terrible places. Why is it that Mos Eisley is the place that he calls a hive of scum and villainy?
I really dig that.
And I like that. Yeah.
And what if he has to like team up with some of that scum and villainy?
Which would be great.
But then like there's this whole thing like he can't reveal himself.
But he gets to meet the Mandalorian.
You think Hondo shows up?
I would be fantastic. Hondo.
I don't like Hondo.
Oh, come on.
They're saying that there's a chance that actually Hondo could maybe show up in Rise of Skywalker, which that would feel shoehorned.
I could see it in the Mandalorian. Maybe
he's such a role though with Galaxy's Edge. Like Hondo's getting it. He's getting a lot of love.
It's pretty soon you're going to start seeing like
for him.
Hondo's candy bar line kind of thing.
Next, we're going to see Zero the Hutt, and that's
what would Hondo's candy bar taste like?
For me, I'm thinking like a Crunch bar.
I think this is a show that we're trying to keep PG, so we shouldn't answer that question.
I think that was pretty appropriate. What do you think that his candy bar would taste like? Let us know, Hondo and Nako. What's weird? Do you know that that's Jim Cummings? Like the guy who voices Winnie the Pooh is the voice of Hondo.
Huh. That's fantastic. I did not know that.
And that brings me a lot of joy. Jim Cummings is like everywhere in Star Wars, but like, he's Hondo and Nako. And so like when you go to the Galaxy's Edge and you hear Hondo talk to you, that's...
You just have this little flashback of him asking for a honeypot.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, so I was in Disney World a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, didn't take us, jerk.
And tickets through work. And the park opens next week. It opens the 29th, right? In Walt Disney World in Florida. And of course, they have that whole immersive hotel thing. But I couldn't barely get into the park without Galaxy's Edge open. So I don't know how the heck you're going to get in when Galaxy's Edge does open. I would spend an hour in line trying to get into that theme park.
I feel like it's going to be a question of when you go. So what time of the year? So maybe like an off season. I mean, I'm already setting money aside to go, but I'm putting that for me personally on a timeline of 2 years from now, 3 years maybe.
Give it time for some people to get in and out. And
Yeah.
reduce the lines.
I'm with you. Also, a good point here, circling back, Tumitsu says lightsabers mean Jedi, and they're supposed to be instinct on the verge. Therefore, lightsabers mean Imperials hunting them down. So, if there is lightsaber reveals in Obi-Wan, yeah, I think Imperial hunt would be legitimate. Could you see an Inquisitor in this Obi-Wan series? That would be nice.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Yeah, I mean, if he's trying to protect Luke and they're out there like, I mean, who's to say Luke doesn't have, as a small kid? I mean, you as a child, just think of like how many times like something crazy's happened, and but you just like don't remember. So like, what if, Luke is a skilled pilot? So what if he, maybe accidentally uses the Force, but doesn't realize what that is, and like causes like a disturbance, which draws in an Inquisitor, and then you get Kenobi involved, and maybe he puts the Lars homestead at danger or something.
That should be an episode.
That'd be cool.
That should be an episode. Well, okay, so what stories should happen in this Obi-Wan live-action series that starts shooting in 2020? All the scripts are written. We have that confirmed. All the scripts are written, start shooting next year. And then what is the flavor of Hondo's bar? I like this idea. We have this from Gannon. Honey Peanut Caramel Crunch, Onaka Candles.
Ooh. I like it. I like it. I love it.
There you go. Hey, so we're going to segue now into the interview part of the show. We've kind of broken down everything from D23, and I've got the green light. So joining us now on Beyond the Blast Doors, episode 67, we have, for our season 3 premiere, Marie Wilson joining us back from Beyond the Blast Doors. Marie is live with us. And Marie, how are you on this Sunday morning?
I am doing fabulous.
You have been on standby, very active in the live chat. So happy about Hondo, huh?
Oh gosh, I love Hondo so much. Pirate's Price is amazing. And everything that he's in just makes me super happy.
Marie is super knowledgeable about all things canon. Her passion, she's one notch above us. She tracks that canon. She's actually going to talk to us a little later about a book that she's reading right now. She is the Comic-Con extraordinaire. She's the lead contributor to Beyond the Blast Doors. I'm going to go ahead and start this conversation if that's all right with you guys. Mm-hmm. We just got done talking about Obi-Wan, so I'm going to trade questions here with David, and I want to ask you, Marie, when you think about this live-action Obi-Wan series that begins shooting in 2020, what are the kinds of stories that you're hoping to watch unfold on Disney+?
Well, I think about the journals of old Ben Kenobi in the mainline comic that were like sort of where Luke was reading through his journals, and it was detailing all these crazy stories, crazy events that Obi-Wan went through. I think it would be really cool. I don't know if the timeline would match, but if Black Chrysanthemum showed up, that would blow my mind. From the Dr. Aphra series, that would be really, really cool.
And in case you don't know who that is the towering black gray scarred Wookiee that plays a pivotal role in the Dr. Aphra comic series. And again, it's important to mention that Dr. Aphra series because you're talking about one of the best-selling Star Wars comics to date. Very interesting. I never even thought about bringing characters in from that line. So that's really excited to. It would be really exciting to see how that plays out. Was that maybe the news of the week for you out of D23, Marie?
I'm trying to think. I've been so distracted by Dragon Con coming up, but I mean, I
the Mandalorian trailer
broadcast, so I was expecting it,
right?
But I mean, all of it was great. I'm excited about what we're seeing from Rise of Skywalker. That poster was probably my favorite.
I'm just drawing a blank.
Oh, well, you seem to like Mandalorians, Jesse. Maybe you should ask her about the
Mandalorians. Like, so to me, that was the big reveal, like more than anything. But I mean, I'm a little biased. Yeah, was there like a particular element or anything about that trailer, or even just some of they had some of the costumes, on the floor. Those pictures have been all over the web. Is like there anything that's like really sticking out to you? that's got you really excited for that show?
The music is probably the biggest thing because I want the music to be as intense and powerful as any movie. The Rogue One soundtrack is my favorite and I listen to it all the time. So the idea of having this kind of music that they had in that
Mhm.
trailer, if they could put that on an album, like, oh, I would listen to that all the time.
Oh, 100% agree with you.
And then the swoop bike they showed, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was actually like a really cool scene. They had that swoop on display at Celebration, so somewhere I've got a nice close-up picture of it. And I think Steve does too.
Yes.
Really, just the amount of like this something I can't express to you guys because like we got to see some of these props like the speeder bikes at Celebration.
Wait, was that the same speeder bike?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah.
I didn't. I just realized
Just
that.
the detail and everything. And then, again, we finally got like a well lit close-up photos of the Mandalorian's costume and Cara Dune's costume as well. And
Yes.
it's just phenomenal. Like I wish I could just spend 5 minutes in a shop with some of those costuming artists at Lucasfilm. That'd be a dream for me.
We've knocked down. We talked about the Mandalorian. We talked about Obi-Wan. We got to talk about Rise of Skywalker, right?
Yes, I think we should. So, Marie, you're by far like you actually study for Star Wars for trivia competitions and stuff like that. So, I think it's safe to say that your in-depth knowledge of the lore is probably significantly better than ours, even though we're still learning. So, as we've been talking about the Rise of Skywalker, one of the things that keeps popping up all over the internet that people keep asking us about is this Rey in the black with the red lightsabers. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that has something to do with the Emperor? Do you think it's like what Jesse says, it's a flashback? Like based upon your experiences and knowing everything to know about Star Wars, where do we take this?
It's a lot of pressure. This better be a good answer. I'm just kidding.
Goodness. Well, I will say that I wanted her to go bad in Last Jedi.
Yes.
Like that moment when Kylo Ren killed Snoke, I wanted her to go bad so much, but it didn't happen, and I was like, oh darn. But I don't see her going. Although I liked the idea that I forget who mentioned it, but about Palpatine controlling her.
Help me. Sorry.
That was I liked that. That was really cool. And then kind of like that reminds me of the Mortis arc from Clone Wars when the Sun took over Ahsoka.
Oh,
Ooh,
good
yeah.
deep dive right there.
So, are you saying that you want to see like a Rey walking around in a black cloak, talking like voiceover by Ian McDermott, just like his voice coming out of her mouth? Because that'd be really cool for me.
That would be interesting. I don't know about the voice thing, but definitely a Rey controlled by the darkness, I think would be really, and that would be a great way to have her go bad, but not actually go bad.
I can totally roll with that. I guess my thing is, and something that we talked about earlier on the show, Marie, was this idea that, is Rey like is Palpatine, controlling her like a puppet? And then you see all this like blue smoke on this poster that came out yesterday out of D23, and a lot of people are asking like if there are some connections there to Sith alchemy, and that would kind of tie this final installment of the Skywalker saga to some other storytelling experiences that we've had through Clone Wars and Rebels. The Emperor uses Sith alchemy there at the final season, the lost episodes of Clone Wars. You see that Sith alchemy present a little bit when it comes to World Between Worlds and Rebels. And so, Maria, I was just kind of interested. Do you think that is diving to that's too in? I don't know how to describe it. Like, do you think that is a legitimate chance that Sith alchemy could be explored in a saga film that is going to be viewed by the lay fan? Do you think that's too specific for the casual fan? Or they could possibly lose them, don't you think? Don't you? Because like when you get magic involved with Star Wars, it always feels like a little out of place.
A little thought, and I'm curious what everybody's thought. Like, so in Empire Strikes Back, Luke goes into the tree and essentially he thinks he's fighting Vader, and it's revealed the mask blows up and it's him inside it. Do you think that maybe this is something similar?
I don't know, Marie. What's your
Possibly?
take on that? I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I think it definitely could be. I hope not, because I feel like there was already a dark side. I can't think of the word. Dark infused
Okay.
space in The Last Jedi with that pit
Yeah.
that had like the dark side in it. So they've already kind of done a natural dark side infused area.
Right.
So I think having something that is more controlled by a person would be interesting. If
Marie,
that makes sense.
oh, it makes total sense, and like I really dig it,
Yeah.
and I like the idea of, I don't know, I for one would be fine if there was like that scene where you somehow got that Sith magic, that Sith alchemy, but I just not sure how
Yeah.
that would translate on that live action screen, Marie, because there was a lot of pushback. Like I think about like when they brought Maul back to life in Clone Wars, a lot of pushback. They're like, witches aren't in Star Wars. It's like, come on, people, the show has space wizards with light swords.
And she brings it. I totally drew a blank about that scene in Last Jedi, but now thinking about it, Luke is like, you went straight for the dark, in that in that movie. So I don't know. Maybe I don't want to see her being like a permanent like bad person, or like,
Right.
I think it'd be more temporary if it ends up actually being something other than like a vision or anything like that. So,
All right. Well, Marie Wilson is a very busy person. She's the lead contributor for BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. But before we let you go, you teased it earlier. You're going to be a panelist at Dragon Con. That's coming up soon here in Atlanta, right?
It's next weekend.
oh man, you're gonna have a blast.
I'm going to be on the Star Wars Representation Matters panel, which is really exciting. And then I'm going to be on a panel called LGBTQ Relationships in Entertainment and Pop Culture.
Very cool. And I love how you are really a spokesperson. When we're talking about diversity and inclusion, not just in Star Wars, but in that fan community, Marie's at the forefront. This is your second or third con where you've been present speaking as an expert on these panels. And when you're not doing that, you're also cranking out really cool, fun content for BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. If she breaks down a comic, she's going to tell you 2 other things that you need to read to get some background information. And there's actually a book, real quick, Marie, that you're trying to finish up. It's one of the tie-ins with Galaxy's Edge, right?
Yes. So A Crash of Fate by Zoraida Cordova is about Izzy Garci and Jules Racob, and they were best friends when they were like 6 years old, and then they come across each other again 13 years later. And the way that this book describes Black Spire Outpost and all the outer laying territories of that area is just phenomenal. And they go into detail about what's in Doc Ondar's shop. And I've seen pictures from Galaxy's Edge that correspond great with what's in the book. And they mention all the different stalls, and they talk about Oga and all these things that you see in the park. And so for someone who's probably not going to be going to the park anytime soon because of, means, it is really exciting to feel like I'm in the park while reading this book.
Super cool. And for those of you who might not have time to read this book on your own, Marie is going to do a review for us for BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. So really looking forward to reading your words about those words about that story, Marie.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Marie Wilson with BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Of course, you can also check out her blog. We've linked that in the description below. We've also had that on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Head to BeyondTheBlastDoors.com right after this show ends, and you can be connected to all of her articles on our website, on her own blog. Marie Wilson, she's just simply the best. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Marie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See you soon. Marie Wilson with us, and always a fun treat to have her on the show. David, you have a thought?
We've had some really, really exciting conversation today with everything revealed at D23 and some of our thoughts on some of the new media coming out. And then Marie was just awesome. Can we talk about something that I found a little disappointing?
Sure.
The Lego sets that were leaked the last couple
boy.
days.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Can we? Is that on the agenda?
Yeah, we're going to throw up a graphic like we planned that. Oh yeah, we got that.
Oh, look, Jordan had it
look
at
at
the
that.
ready.
He's a wizard.
Look at that.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Jordan.
Another Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, so this is not cool. So what happened was Brick and Bricks dropped this list I see on the other day, and I shared with the guys because I got irritated right away.
He did. I can't. It's like, oh man.
We got a list of like 7 or 8 sets, right?
Uh-huh.
And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. We're about to hit the hour mark here on episode 67, Beyond the Blast Doors. Glad you're with us. Gun turret, A-wing, Y-wing, speeder bike, land speeder, ATST, Yoda, which is like a Yoda you build. It's about
I don't like-
1,700
A
pieces.
UCS Yoda.
I don't
Yeah.
like those.
Kylo Ren Starship Millennium Falcon. Here's the thing: Millennium Falcon, 1,350 pieces, valued at $160. That's about $10 more than what I bought the Force Awakens Millennium Falcon behind me. Yes, I regret buying that Falcon. I should have just waited, collected my dollars, maybe gotten the UCS, or just trying to find like the classic OT Falcon. But this is like the 16th Falcon. We have gotten a Falcon for this movie.
Yeah.
We got Solo,
Solo.
Force Awakens. Was there one for The Last Jedi? I don't think there was.
But we did have the $800,
right, the big UCS
8,000
thing.
piece
Yeah.
one. So there's
So
4.
that's
I,
four in the
I,
last 4
I,
years.
I was thinking we counted 6 earlier.
Well, there was like a mini, and there was a medium that was released a few years ago. I really should do a timeline of all the Millennium Falcons there, but we're at like 15 or 16 right now with all the different versions released. It just seems excessive. What it seems to me, and I shouldn't complain. Legos really are targeting the kid again, but we were groomed, right? We were there for those first sets in '99, and we got to experience that fun. And it seems like there's this huge divide now between the sets. You're either going to get your 3-year-old these $20 sets where there's really nothing to them, and there's like targets that they can shoot at. Like it's like an action set, but it's kind of crap. It's not like a real environment.
Right.
Or you're going to have to shell out $60, $70, $80, $90 for an actual set. That mid-range set doesn't seem to exist anymore. And I think it's because they figured that the buyer now is either buying for a kid or themselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just feel like that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's to me though, and we can't show you any of these images. The leaked images were already taken down, and also we've had conversations with Lego before about leaked images, and they just don't appreciate.
They
when we do
really
that.
don't.
They don't like that.
Now,
no.
some of these things that, like with this Falcon, that I do enjoy, and it's not the Falcon that David has on display behind him is bad, but with the new one, I'm not sure. Yeah, if you can maybe hold that up. So with his, these panels fold, they open up so you can play with the interior of the ship. Now with the new one, these openings are actually closed off. You're actually getting a more
it's a nicer
enclosed
set.
It is technically a nicer Falcon. You are getting old Lando, with it as a minifig.
I mean, here's
But the disappointment is that there's also a lot of other sets that people are they want to see. I was disappointed we didn't get any Clone Wars.
There's no Clone
sets.
Wars love at all.
Especially with
there wasn't much in D23 either. They were basically like, yeah, you'll get it in 2020.
Yeah, February 2020, Season 7 Clone Wars. But I was expecting maybe like a gunship again, or the Arc 170. Yeah, so I mean, and then it's more of these sets. They're smaller. They're more geared, like quick builds for kids. And that's not terrible.
No,
but
those mid-range sets were my favorite. I mean, the Naboo fighter when that came out, that wasn't a $60, $70 set. That was a $30 or $40 set.
I think out of this batch, the ATST is the only one that really caught my
the
attention.
Raider from the Mandalorian.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the first Mandalorian Lego set. I mean, you're getting the Mando, and this ATST, which is actually seen in the trailer. And it's actually, the legs are discolored, so I don't know if that's supposed to represent maybe it's like rusted or been painted. Okay. We know that people kind of reclaim surplus Imperial items, this during this time period. So
when we even posted about this originally on our Facebook page, when the photos were still up, Steve Hyman, who helps us with our show, he got on there and right away he's like, the coolest thing about this batch is the fact that we're already starting to see Mandalorian merch become available, which is really exciting. I think because I love Krennic Shuttle so much and I missed out on that, David has the Krennic Shuttle.
I love Krennic Shuttle.
That is a cool set.
I'm getting if I were to get a set out of this, I want to get Kylo Ren Starship because it's movie accurate now. You might remember the Force Awakens version is more light gray than black.
Yeah.
And the wings, they don't stop here. I think they come apart. They're just, there's a weird mechanism there how they move, and so I think that would be cool because I think that Kylo Ren and anything associated with Kylo Ren. That's the best part of this new trilogy, in my opinion. His shuttle is maybe the coolest looking of all the new ships in that sequel trilogy, so I'll probably pick that one up. But if you're able to find the images online, that's great. We're not going to show them on the show out of respect to Lego, and we like doing the show. But if you have any thoughts on the ships that we listed, let us know in the comment section below. Remember, once the show stops going live, you can comment there. We continue the Star Wars conversation there. But yeah, it is. The Lego slate is just a rehash, but there is one more slate to be revealed for 2019. Hopefully there is some Clone Wars love as we get closer to 2020 with the drop of the final season.
You know what I'd really love?
What would you love, Jesse?
The Razor Crest, the Mandalorian's own ship. It looks cool. I want it. I want it on my shelf.
Is that the one where like the wings?
No.
Which one is that?
It looks similar to a drop ship, Clone Wars drop ship, but like with the bigger engines on the side. His personal ship that you see flying through the trailer.
All right. Well, start tweeting to Lego and see what we can have happen.
Yeah, I'm going to start tweeting them every minute, every day.
They'll love that. Well, we love you. We're glad that you were able to join us for this Season 3 premiere, Episode 67 of Beyond the Blast Doors, just at an hour mark here on the show, and just so glad that we could have this conversation and get back together. You know, we take the summers off. They're busy for us, me. And so we're back together, and we're talking about all these things. So D23 weekend's a good weekend to come back. Again, there are some things that we just didn't talk about. For example, there's the Season 2 trailer of Star Wars Resistance for Disney XD. That is going to be the final season of Star Wars Resistance. And so it's fascinating to see how far they can go in that series. Probably gets too close to where we're covering in The Rise of Skywalker or maybe The Last Jedi. And so they got to, slow it down and stop it. So there's that. There's a few other things. Our actors are always talking about their roles. Domhnall Gleeson's always talking about Hux. He's glad to be part of another franchise, like he wasn't part of a big enough franchise with Harry Potter. But there's so much happening, and of course, tomorrow, be on the lookout. We will too for that official release of the sizzle reel for The Rise of Skywalker that was showcased this weekend at D23. So for Jesse, for David, for myself, for Jordan, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Blast Doors. We'll see you soon. Be sure you comment down below after the live stream so we can continue this Star Wars conversation. May the Force be with you.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.